News in brief.
Good afternoon, dear listeners. You are tuned into Ifrikya FM, and this is Amira Dekhili bringing you the latest African news. We begin with a significant call for the reform at the United Nations, as Algeria urged the United Nations to undertake a comprehensive initiative to restore the essential function of the Security Council and the UN. Foreign Minister Ahmed Attaf emphasized the urgent need to address historical injustice faced by Africa. Always in the UN Security Council and with conflict raging in Sudan with no end in sight to the catastrophic hunger crisis it has recreated, UN agencies and member states meeting at the General Assembly in New York prepare to issue a renewed call for urgent action to protect the country's people. In Libya, the House of Representatives and High Council of State come to agree on a process to appoint a new governor for the Central Bank of Libya. This agreement, facilitated by the United Nations, outlines the procedures for appointing the governor, deputy governor, and board of directors in accordance with the Libyan political agreement. A signing ceremony attended by international representatives is scheduled for today. Moving to West Africa, authorities in Benin arrest 3 individuals accused of plotting a coup. According to the prosecutor, the men, including the commander of the Republican Guard responsible for the president's security, were allegedly engaged by Minister Oswald Homki and Oliver Buku to execute the coup on September 27, 2024. In North Africa, dozens of protesters gathered in Tunisia and Morocco to condemn the ongoing attacks in Gaza and Lebanon. Demonstrators call for immediate action to address the escalating violence in the region. Turning to economic news, a bold plan to provide electricity to 300 million Africans by 2030 is now underway. The initiative, backed by a $30 billion commitment from the World Bank and the African Development Bank, aims to significantly expand access to energy across the continent. Meanwhile, a memorandum of cooperation has been signed between the National Petroleum Company of the Congo and the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation. This agreement sets the frame for cooperation and collaboration between the two institutions to strengthen ties in the energy sector. In other news, Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan unveils a strategic plan to boost the country's coffee exports to $500 million by 2029. This initiative aims to reduce government borrowing and lessen dependency on foreign loans. In the health sector, the death toll from the ongoing cholera outbreak in Sudan has risen to 473. The outbreak has been exacerbated by heavy rains and floods that have affected the country since June, putting immense pressure on already strained healthcare resources. In a poignant moment of remembrance, South Africa receives the remains of 42 freedom fighters, who died in exile in Zimbabwe and Zambia during the apartheid era. The repatriation of these remains is seen as a step towards honoring their sacrifices in the fight for freedom and justice. And now in sports, the African Football Confederation has appointed Libyan referee Mu'taz Al-Shalmani to officiate the upcoming match between Al-Ahli and Al-Zamalek. This highly anticipated game is scheduled for next Friday in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, where the two teams will compete for the African Super Cup title. And that brings us to the end of today's news. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for the next news roundup in French, which will be coming up at 4 p.m. GMT +1 and presented by Yunus Jama. I am Amira Dekhili, wishing you a wonderful afternoon.